G'day, listeners. This episode is proudly brought to you by our major sponsor, supshq.com.au. Use code BENS15 at checkout to receive 15% off on your next purchase. What is going on, listeners, followers, subscribers, fans, everything in between? Thank you guys so much for being patient with us and understanding and being involved and engaged and subscribing and following everything that you're doing. We are greatly appreciative, and I very much am humbled by everything that's happened around comp and the prep season. So this episode, we're just going to do a quick wrap up or sort of an update, I guess, because I haven't really done a video since Nationals finished, bring the conclusion to the season. Now we have a video coming out with Wilson Media Co. So if you guys haven't followed them yet, definitely jump on and go look at them if you're in the field for any media or marketing or visual media, videography, photography, etc. Phil is fantastic. He's one of the best that I've ever worked with and could not recommend him more. So we have some episodes coming out for the prep season between the peak week and photo shoots and stuff like that. So we've got plenty of that to come. But I just want to do a quick wrap up directly to the podcast page and make sure that everyone's kind of getting an understanding of how it all goes. So we have, by the time you hear this, I will have uploaded the peak week videos that I did to kind of wrap my head around where I was and how I was feeling and how everything was progressing. And then you will obviously have this episode to discuss post nationals and states as well. So to give a quick wrap up, if you haven't gathered by now, I did walk away with the first place medal at my classic division in states, which was very humbling, very unexpected, and very surprising. I was top 6 callouts. So I made first callouts for my open division at states. That was a shock. I was surprised. I was very, again, impressed with that position. For me, I knew I'd made gains, but I didn't expect to be up there like that, considering the size of the guys that were there and just my overall expectations. I didn't go in thinking I would even be amongst that, considering last time I was towards the back end of the herd and kind of didn't get really put any further than that. So to make top 6 was phenomenal. It means like in the state, I was one of the best at what we were doing. And I can't really ask for much more than that on the road to progression and my desire for perfection. Can't really be disappointed with that finish and conclusion. I got plenty of positive feedback from states that we implemented straight away. So between states and nationals, we went straight into a refeed after comp. So it's just a day off food, basically straight into some calories, some just good food. I had like beef, steaks, some veggies, chips, stuff like that. Some simple good food. And then for dinner, we got home, let that settle, relaxed with the feet up, got a first coat of tan off, just had a shower, just relaxed with my feet up, tried to rest and sleep because man, there is nothing more exhausting than, well, there is plenty more exhausting, but show day is a very exhausting process. The stress and anxiety of being up early, like our first coat of tan went on at 5 o'clock on a Friday night. I ended up doing like 16,000 steps on the Friday and I was supposed to do nothing. And then by Saturday morning, it was like a 4 a.m. wake up for a 5 a.m. tan, or maybe a 6 a.m. wake up for a 5 a.m. wake up for a 6 a.m. tan. So everything was very, very early and exhausting. And obviously the lack of sleep that night, because you're covered in tan, you're carved up, I guess, but at the same time, you're covered in tan, you can't really sleep properly, you can't toss and turn. You try to stay in a fixed position so you don't ruin or run the tan too much. And then, we woke up Saturday morning and got about business. So started putting food back in, got some nationals. We pulled water. We want to try to see what a dehydrated look would be like and pull water out and see how that goes. But I don't think we control potassium and sodium enough to make it relevant. So going forward for me, that's a very high learning curve that I will be a lot more considerate of for future preps. Just the sheer difference of ratios between sodium and potassium controlling potentially just didn't make the depreciation of water even necessary. But in the end, the look we wanted was what we presented, and I was in a very good place to get up on stage, to be able to pose again after 3 years, to show off the progress we've made. I ended up at about nearly 9-10 kilos of stage weight heavier at a much leaner condition, which to me is a huge stride forward, and hope to replicate that again in a much better position. So, with COVID happening twice, the lockdowns happening twice there between the 2 seasons, there's still a lot more room for growth in there that I think I can push without compensating health or consequences of health too drastically. There was 2 times in that gap where I tried to prep for a season because of COVID. It didn't happen. So, who knows what can be done now with 2 years of uninterrupted progression. That leaves me very optimistic and excited. But I got to show that off. So I weighed in at I was 89 kilos, just on my cap, at directly on 175, I think it was. So I was at the very top end of my weight cap and height cap for the classic, and came in very nicely for under 90s, which gave me a nice full look. Everything was really dry. Midsection was peeled. I was very happy with that. My obliques and serratus had never been that dry before. Chest was very full. Shoulder bellies were round. Back could do a bit more work, but at the end of the day, it was very, very lean. I had lower erector vascularity that, for last prep was non-existent. And yeah, that was overall a really good position. Legs could definitely be drier. Just getting more data and seeing that legs for me is very hard to peel out. Not for the lack of suffering or diet. I dug as hard as I could. I just think that the starting position needs to be better for us in the future to make sure the legs come through nicely. Now, in saying that, I still got first place pretty unanimously. Judges' feedback was basically I was the look to judge against, which was awesome for Classic, which was, I've always had a goal and ambition to enjoy Classic physique and be able to be up there and try it out. I want to be bigger. I don't want to be in the big boys. I want to be the opens, but at the same time, to be in that realm at least once and give it a go to get that vote and that win, it was, something I can never regret, or I can't take away from myself that at that point in time, I was the best on stage and I was the best in the state of what I did. So, it was a very humbling, exciting experience that at the end of the day is, we compete to win and compete to see where we can be better. So we took judges' feedback, which was basically just come in a little bit drier, flat, crisping out a bit more, dig deeper and see how we go. And we did that for nationals. So we took that fuller look still. We're still going to keep the same pop, but try and dig out that extra crispiness. So I ended up down to 84 to fill back up to about 87, 88. And then that was, for nationals 10 days later. So we pulled down to 50 grams of carbs, give or take ratios of veg and condiments. So like ketchup, that was pretty much it. It was all I was looking forward to. A lot of chicken, a lot of salad, a lot of veg, and that's about it. And yeah, that was kind of like, can you suffer this for 10 more days? Can you do an hour of cardio for 10 more days? Can you do posing 3 times a day for 10 more days? That was the mindset going in, that the next 10 days is going to be hell, but why stop in hell? If you're already in there, why stop there? One of the fastest ways, the most direct route to the place you want to be is through hell. But at the same time, you don't stop there when you get in. If you want to get to where you're trying to go, you have to go through hell no matter what. The problem is that a lot of people stop there and think, well, I'm going through pain and through suffering now. So, if I stop, it should end. The fact is, not how it works. You're going to be in pain regardless. You're in hell regardless. You're suffering already. Why not keep going? Why not push through and get to the other side? And that was my mentality or mindset, I guess, going through that 10-day period, was how much harder can I really dig in 2 weeks? How much extra can I give? How much more is in the tank? How much do I have left before I have to quit? And there was one morning where, I think I've spoken about this a couple of times now, where my restlessness and my wideness was so frustrating. I couldn't sleep. I had like a heavy gastro phase, so on the toilet pretty heavily, cleared my stomach out, but then I couldn't get back to sleep. I was tossing and turning, tried to watch movies, tried to watch TV, tried to watch TikTok, Instagram. Nothing was working. So 3 o'clock rolls around, I woke up, started doing some laundry, cleaning the house, doing my washing, putting things away. And I was like, what? It's 4 o'clock now. I'm already up. I may as well skip my cardio. Stuck in that hour of the way. So I got changed, took my supplements, got on the bike. That 4:30 turned to 5:30, 6 o'clock, whatever it was. But with about 20 minutes to go, I literally just fell off it. In my head, my legs were going, but they weren't going at a pace. And the idea was to try and get heart rate up to a certain window, to a certain threshold, to really stimulate oxidization and get fat stores moving. But at the same time, they literally just weren't moving. Like they were going, but they weren't going. And in my head, they're pushing faster, but in the actual action, the mechanism, it wasn't occurring. So that was a really clear sign to me that fatigue was setting in. I was exhausted. And then it just got to a point where eventually it just stopped, and I felt like I was tired, exhausted, drained, fatigued. And so I just stopped, and literally my body just fell. And I got up and sort of thought, I can try and go back to sleep. I can try to go to bed, not toss and turn, or I can finish the 15 minutes and know that no matter what, whether I drop dead here or I drop dead on stage or I get done on stage, that if I'm going out, the last thing I did is I know that I left nothing on the table. There was no stones left unturned. I ticked every box, and I made sure that I got done what I said I would do. And that was the non-negotiables each day that led to the culmination of my physique on stage. So that's what we did. And I'm not saying that to be a hero or sound impressive or, grind mentality. It was just that there was a goal to achieve. There was an outcome that required effort and actions, and those actions had to get done. And that was an hour cardio, and I'd done 40 minutes, and I fell off, and I literally collapsed. And I was like, "No, there is still coffee here. There's still stimulants. I've still got water. I'm still alive. I can do another 20 minutes." And then I literally just collapsed in bed and slept for like 4 straight hours. Though in total, I'd only had 5 hours sleep. I just collapsed and just took the extra 4 hours. I went about my body. Oh, excuse me. That was just an example of kind of what happened between states and nationals. And nationals, we tried a different approach. We did 2 heavier days of loading closer to show, so I was a lot fuller. But at the same time, I ended up with a bit of a gastro issue come show day, whether it was the digestive enzymes or whether it was just something else I'd taken or not cooked properly. But I ended up going to the bathroom about 12 times at the venue, and every single time was just flattening me out more, and it was just like the potassium and fluids was just flushing out, and my look was just getting softer. But I still ended up in a top 4 position, which, had I been crispier, had I been drier, and that was the look they wanted, I was told I could have been content with anywhere between 4th to 2nd. So, can't be mad about that. I'm not going to play some politics card or judges didn't like me, this or that or the other. It was where I finished, and it was a good display of what I'd done and where I was going to go from almost the outside curb of last places at, my last season to a 1st place and 4th place at the national level. There's not much to be taken away from that. That I'm stoked with it. I was in the middle of second call outs for opens as well. So, it means theoretically open division sitting around 7th for the country in my division, which is pretty awesome. It's a pretty big deal. In my rate of growth and progression, that's a good place to be. I'm not expecting to go through every season winning, but I'm just expecting to go through every season progressing. And that was pretty much, where nationals finished up. I a 4th place and then a open call out to 7th place potentially is pretty satisfying for me, because it says we're on the right tracks. Because what we're doing is working. What we're doing is showing. And I think I was a clear winner in my state show, and I was a pretty clear top contender at the national show. I could have been content with any position above 4th or 5th, and would have been probably fitting. So that was kind of, my takeaway there. I'm definitely not satisfied. That's not to put a damper on it and say that my mentality is slowing down. I'm not as intense. Like, no fucking way. I'm 100% coming back to win. The thing is, I'm actually going to do it. And I know a lot of people say that after their shows, and they get the high and mighty, motivation and energy from a placing or looking shredded, like, I'm going to come back 20 kilos heavier. No, like I said last time, this is what I would do. And I can take you back through my goal setting sheets from 3 years ago of exactly how I was going to map out my rates to my next show, my next season, what I'm going to do and how I'm going to look. And I literally ticked off every single one on the bar winning the open class. So, that reflection to me is that everything's on point and we're moving in the right directions and we're ticking the boxes and getting recognized for it. So the next plan now moving forward is to come back to the open division of bodybuilding, not classic. I want to keep my classic structure, my classic taper and frame, but I want to come in bigger. I want to come in overwhelmingly tapered, structured, and conditioned, and make sure that, if I don't win on sheer size, it's size conjunction with my condition and my taper, and that my posing's on point. So, the complete package of a bodybuilder is what I'm going to go for, not just simply size for the sake of it. But that was the sort of takeaway from nationals. The feedback we got is that you just got to be bigger and fill out the frame I've got. I was too tall for the under 90s. The guys that did win were a lot denser than me, and their muscle was a lot rounder, and they were just fuller for their height. So, being a couple of inches taller than those guys just means that under hundreds is my natural curve. It's where I go next and aim to progress to, and that's what we're going to do. So you're going to get healthy now. It's about 2 weeks post show. Plan is to get healthy, fix up all the niggles, get the body working again, and then we start our next growth block and push into some real heavy training, some heavy food, some heavy fun, and start to make the enjoyment back again for bodybuilding and what we do. So, I plan to get towards the 110s lean. Last time I got pretty soft. I want to push up to that 110 mark, that 110, 115, sub 12%. Make sure that I'm pulling down to the mid 90s, high 90s, ready to be on stage. We've got plans in place. If you've seen my whiteboards on the wall here, I've already got a checkpoint markers set out that I'm going to be, in 2 years, 115 plus, sub 12% body fat, 55 mils over 9 sides, thereabouts, and maintain my 30-inch waist. If I can do those things, without question, the look I bring to the stage next is going to be very impressive. And I'm the last person to say I have an impressive physique, but I think that would be a very good look for me, and it will really maximize the structure and frame and muscle belly shape that I have. So, yeah, that's the plan for me going forward. And that's just kind of like an update post life. So, Nationals is done, reflections are over, the kind of hype and the excitement is finished. Now it's time that we focus back on life, get business up and running again. We got, coaching spots are open, courses are getting finished, seminars are being run, everything's happening for this game, and we're putting all that energy intensity we had for prep into something new, or redirecting it to something that we've already got, and that is all my clients, the business, the people that we want to work with, the people who want to work with us, content we're putting out, the value we're putting out, making sure that everyone is looked after. So, if you do have any questions or any concerns, or you want to get in touch for coaching or education, please reach out, let us know, DM, book a consult, whatever you need to do. But we are going all guns blazing into the future of this business and my training and my prep and my periodization, my phasing. It's all going to be happening as we move forward from here. So definitely keep an eye out, like, subscribe, follow, engage, drop a comment. Tell me if you watch the season, tell me if you watch the shows, let me know what you think. Where could I have done better? Do you like my posing? Let me know. It's all going to be, positive, constructive feedback for me. And that's what we're trying to do here, is keep everything, on the table, not behind closed doors and sort of locked away. It's all very transparent and trying to be as open as possible. So yeah, let me know what you think, and we'll go from there. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. Cheers.